to do a video to talk to you about how to do well in my classes, but just also in any class. And these are a couple of tips to make you a better student, to make your life as a student easier. And these work whether you're doing face-to-face classes, sitting in the classroom every day, whether you're doing the hybrid class like we're doing currently, or whether you're just 100% virtual, either in K through 12 school like we are right now, or in college when you go on and just maybe take online courses. So these things can serve you at any point in your school career. I've used all these. These are many, many years of trying and honing my skills of how to do this. I've had 8 years of college, plus enough other classwork to add on 3 license areas in areas other than what I had majored in college. So these have been tried, they're research-based, and they definitely work. I can testify to that. All right, so let's talk about the first one here, and that is highlighting. So I've already highlighted a bit of a document up here. Oops, sorry. This is from the article, 12 Things We Know About Brain Science. And one of the first things that I've highlighted up here is the first main idea of the first paragraph. So remember, the way paragraphs are written, the way any text is usually written, is that there's a main idea, the key point that the author wants to get through to you. And then everything under that paragraph until the next paragraph begins is all just supporting detail of that main idea. So if we look up at the top here, exercise boosts brain power, that's the first of the 12 things that we know about brain science. We know exercise boosts brain power. So you can read all through that paragraph there, and it's all interesting stuff that helps us understand that, yes, indeed, exercise does boost brain power. But I was looking for the key fact that I want to put in my paper if I was going to write a paper about this. Now, I don't want to rewrite the guy's entire paper because A, that's stupid, how much time I would waste, and B, that's illegal because it's his paper. He wrote it, so he gets the credit for it. So I'm looking for just that key fact that I want to pull out of that first paragraph there. So I'm reading about exercise boosts brain power. That's my first highlight. And then the detail that I really like is here. The ability to reason quickly, think abstractly, improvise off previously learned material in order to solve a new problem. Those things are enhanced by exercise, and those are really important skills to be able to have. Now, when we're looking at this is obviously a text that we're highlighting and not my own personal notes, but the same skills are used for our notes. So if you had been listening to me lecture and you're writing down your notes, you're going to do the exact same thing. What is the key point he's talking about, maybe on the slide that he's got up on the screen here? And it could be something about matter, atoms and those kind of things. It could be something about world history and the rise of the Roman Empire, whatever it is. Each slide is going to be kind of supporting a main idea, just like every sentence in a paragraph is supporting that main idea. So on this section of your notes about this slide, you can find that main idea. So anyway, moving on, this is the next main idea of the next paragraph. Your brain is a survival organ. Again, there's lots of information in here about that. The key fact that really stands out for me is that the strongest brains survive. That means the people with the best minds are going to survive, not necessarily the strongest. And we're thinking back into prehistoric times when we were hunter-gatherers, but also up through history. Not as much today, but it has been the case. And then one of the key things is that relationships have helped us survive. One of the reasons that we have dominated this planet is because we can communicate with each other and we have relationships with each other so that we can work as a team. This was really important back in the day when we were hunter-gatherers, cave people running around. That's the thing that kept us from falling prey to other apex predators and allowed us to eventually take over the world. All right, so that is what highlighting looks like. In my notes, it would be the same way as doing a text. Very, very, very similar technique for this. What is the key point that the teacher made? What is a key detail or two, or a key vocabulary word that I need to write down out of here? All right, so that is the highlighting part. Black our screen here. All right, so I'm going to put up here on our board, highlighting. That is the first of our ways to do well in class. We're going to go back through our notes and highlight the key terms. This is the vocabulary words and the main ideas. That's what we're looking for right now. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually use our 2 columns in our 2-column notes. So here is your 2-column notes that you've made. And you've got your column down the side here. This is your main idea column, or if you learned it as Cornell Notes someplace, this is your Q column, C-U-E. So you've taken all your notes out here during class. You haven't touched this part during class. Wait until after class, after the lecture's over, if you have time at the end of class, maybe in like AC time, study hall time, anything like that, or at home during homework time. So you got all your notes here. You're going to read back through your notes now after the lecture is over, and you're going to pull out key terms and main ideas. And you're going to write them out here. So you've got now a key term that goes with all this. And then here's another couple of paragraphs down here. Well, here's another term that you're going to write down. All right, so key terms, main ideas. Key terms, main ideas. Yes, it's repetitious, and there's a reason for that. And that is that we learn through repetition. It's the way our brains work. We don't have the luxury of just being told things one time and boom, we've got it and we understand the concept. So yes, I'm intentionally having you do things over and over and over again because that is how we process it and become, develop it into an understanding, I guess is the best way to say it. All right, so after we have highlighted our notes, we've used our 2nd column of our notes. Now I'm going to move away from the notes. I'm not setting them too far away because I'm going to use them to make my flashcards. My flashcards I'm going to set up where I have a keyword on the front here, black screen, let me move it up a little bit. I've got a keyword on the front here, and then I turn it around and I've got the definition on the back. So you can do that with vocabulary words, or you can even do it with concepts too. You could write an idea on one side and then explain the significance of the idea on the other side. So again, flashcards are vocabulary and concepts, which is the same thing. Another way of saying key terms and main ideas. Repetition over and over again. It's putting it in your brain so that it'll always be there whenever you need that information. Now, while you're doing this, there's a really, really important thing that you need to be doing, and that is to be thinking about your thinking. That might sound kind of weird, but it is so important that there's actually a word for it, and that word is metacognition. That means to think about your thinking. So metacognition is that little voice inside your head that we talk to a lot and that talks to us. And when we're doing our highlighting and making our 2nd column of our notes and making our flashcards, if that voice is saying, hey, dude, you don't know anything about that word that you're just writing down, or this concept, you get that it's really important. This is the 3rd time you've written it down, and you highlight it in your notes, but do you really understand what the concept is? So you make yourself a note to shoot your teacher an email, or to make sure you catch them in class the next day, and get that understanding down. Make sure that you're listening to this voice in your head, this metacognition voice. You're thinking about your thinking, and your thinking says, I don't really get this. You take care of that. You got to get that done. All right, so we're repeating ourselves over and over and over again with key terms and main ideas. We're highlighting them. We're putting them in our main idea column. We're making our flashcards. The whole time we are thinking about our thinking as we do that. Research has found that thinking about our thinking is one of the most important skills that we could do, not just to be successful in school, but to be successful in life. All right, and this is probably going to be the craziest thing that I ask you to do, and that is to rewrite your notes. And I can hear you screaming now, Mr. Scott, it almost killed me to write the notes the first time. You want me to do it again? Yes, I do. And the reason for that is that when you are doing your notes, you might not have had time to organize them really well. And remember, we talked about in class what an outline looks like. You've got your Roman numeral main idea. Here's your fact, your supporting fact, number 1, and then here's your Hindu Arabic number that tells you that this is a detail that supports, this detail supports this fact supports this main idea, right? So it takes a long time to do this, and you catch yourself thinking, oh, is this supposed to be a capital letter, or was this the Arabic number, or what's it supposed to be? So what I taught you in class was, don't worry about these, just use the indentations, and the indentations show the relationships. This is indented under main idea, so it goes with the main idea. This is indented under fact one, so it supports fact one. So these are supporting ideas under this main idea. And then when you get down to the next main idea, you're back over here to your margin line or your Q column note here. So this is main idea 2. And now you're going to have fact over here and details over here and so forth and so on. All right, so this is what you're doing when you're taking notes. And if you practice this, you'll get really good at it, and you will recognize when the teacher is transitioning from this main idea to this main idea, and so your notes will look like this, and you'll be organized as you take your notes. But that takes a lot of practice. Like I said, I've done not 8 years, I did 10 years of school because I didn't count X-ray school. So I've got 10 years of college in addition to taking lots and lots of classes for other things. And so it took me a long time to get to where I could recognize the teacher's cues and know when I'm changing facts and main ideas and those kind of things. All right, so let me erase this. So you're cruising along as fast as you can, taking notes, but you don't always have time to get it organized. And so that is a great reason to rewrite your notes. You're restructuring your notes again, and you're putting them in orders that make sense to you. And this is, 2 things are happening here. One, you are repeating the information yet again. You're rewriting it, it's putting it in your head. I cannot emphasize enough how repetition drills that kind of stuff into your head. So much so that just doing this process often is all you have to do. This is the studying, making this stuff. You don't do all of this so that you can then study. What I found for so many students is when they're studying, they'll grab a study guide and they'll read the question, they'll read the answer, they'll read the question, they'll read the answer, they'll read the question, they'll read the answer. They're not processing anything. They're not thinking about anything. They're not even testing themselves with flashcards. They're literally just reading something and it's not going through. This is the study, doing the highlighting, choosing what to highlight. Your brain has had to decide, this is important, I'm gonna highlight that. Pulling stuff out into the main idea column, making your flashcards. These things are the studying. Rewriting your notes, again, will help you repeat it again, but also to organize it in a better way. And finally, and this is probably the most important part about this crazy step here, is that this is when it's gonna really leap out at you that you don't get something. When you are doing this metacognition as you are rewriting your notes, when you are organizing your notes again to make them in the best organization that you can, and you realize, I don't know if this goes with this main idea, or was this a completely different idea, because I really don't get this idea at all. I don't really understand what it even means. Boom, now you need to be shooting that email or making a note to talk to your teacher and get that cleared up. So this is a great time that kind of forces metacognition on you. You can't be a mindless photocopier and just copy it down exactly the way you had it. You are trying to make it better. You are trying to see how it should be organized. You're putting meaning into what you're doing, and that's where the learning comes from. So again, with the same idea that I keep hammering away over and over and over again, is you have to be thinking about what you're doing all the time. I've got signs up around my room that say #productive-struggle. If you are not working, thinking, and trying hard, you're not learning. So this is the working hard, this is the thinking hard, this is the trying hard. This is productive struggle. It's not easy, but easy doesn't give you anything. You don't learn from easy. Just like we said the other day in the lecture, great athletes have said that they've learned absolutely nothing from tournaments or games that they've won. You learn from adversity, you learn from things being hard. This is that productive struggle where the learning actually comes from. All right, the last one. Yeah, this is the craziest idea. This is the most important idea. This is summarizing. Now, it's really, really important, but don't say, oh, well, then I can probably skip these and just do this because Mr. Scott said this is the most important one. You can't do this well if you don't do these other things. So you have to do all the steps, but this is a really important step because this is the brain bringing it all together and saying, here it is, this is what it is. So what summarizing is boiling down the whole idea of a lesson that we're doing into 2 or 3 sentences. It's got to be short. Another way I like to teach it is to picture yourself, you're in line at Chick-fil-A or you're in line at Panera or someplace like that. There's a couple of people in line ahead of you, so it's not your time yet, but you know you're just about to have to step up and order. You're standing there with some significant other person in your life, your mom, your dad, a boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever the case may be. And you've already decided what you're going to eat, you're waiting to order, and your significant person turns to you and says, "So what'd you learn in Mr. Scott's class today?" You've got 30 seconds to explain what you learned in class today before it's your time to go order. So you've got to have it tight. It's got to be compact, concise. Just get right to the point. But it's mom, right? And so you know you can't just say, nothing. She knows better. You didn't learn nothing in school today. All right, so you lay it out there. You explain what it is that you learned in class today, and you keep it tight, 30 seconds, and then you can step up and order. This is also called an elevator speech. If you lived in the big cities or if you were in a business environment instead of still being in school, your elevator speech is the idea that you're on the elevator, you're going up to an office somewhere in a big building, and the elevator stops and the big boss steps on the elevator and he's going to ride up with you a couple of floors. You've got a couple of seconds, literally like 30 seconds, to make your spiel to the big boss and say, this is why I'm your guy or I'm your girl that you need to put in that job opening that's coming up. I need that promotion, and here's why I'm the person for that job. So that's called your elevator speech, and it's the same thing. This is your summary. Concise, tight explanation of why you deserve that promotion. I'm asking you to do the tight, concise summary of what it is about that lesson that you really need to know, that everybody has to understand about whatever the topic is that we happen to be studying. So this is how to do well in any class. Like I said, I've done it myself over and over and over for years. It works. The more you do it, the easier it is. So you can just cruise through classes doing really, really well just by doing this. It gets easier and easier the more you practice it, and the learning gets deeper and deeper. So thanks for hanging out.